the tank blitzers and hopefully a few future mum reds. Hey, Littlefinger here today. We're going to do a full tank review on the Tier 5 American light tank, the Chaffee. You see it here in the garage. It's small, it's compact, it's got good speed. It's actually got a pretty good gun. And overall, it's a really fun tank to drive if you like a light, fast, mobile tank with no armor. So let's take a look real quick here at Tech Tree. American tank here towards the top. You can see it branches off from the M5 Stuart and then goes down to the Chaffee, the T37, the 41 Bulldog, and the T49, which is basically a KV2 gun on a super mobile tank, and is a lot of fun and also a lot of frustration. But great line here, a lot of fun, especially if you like lights, fast tanks. Moving into just a quick setup on consumables. This is fairly standard for me. Repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Provisions, I'm running improved fuel, protective kit, and case of cola. And ammunition here, you can see that I am running 14 rounds of APCR. Needed it on a few occasions, but not a whole lot. And don't forget here, shell price button, 2,400 credits per round, so use that sparingly. Equipment, again, Tier 5, I would not spend any spare parts. So you can see here I have just gotten the level 1 only. And I ran this tank for most of the time with the gun rammer, hoping that that extra half a round per minute would help. But what I found worked better was the calibrated shells, getting that AP penetration number up over 120. I felt that that was a better use for this piece of equipment. Protected modules versus enhanced cabin. Well, you know, I typically run the small and large repair kits, so I can repair cabin, crew, but you know, I feel the importance of protecting against engine fires and ammo racks is more important, so that's why I go with protected modules. Improved optics. Obviously you're not going to be sitting still in here, so there's no need for a camouflage net. This gets our view range up to 286. And just in case you do want to spend some spare parts, let's just look real quick here. Enhanced gun lane drive gets that aim time down to 3 seconds. Supercharge, I'd probably go with this. Really, that aim time at 3.3 seconds, you can't, you know, you're not going to notice a difference, really, in my opinion, between 3.3 and 3. So, enhanced armor. Well, armor's not very good on this tank. I would go with the additional hit points there. And then what I usually prefer to go with, depending upon the engine here, is go with the improved control. It really increases our traverse speed. For tanks that have a good horsepower to weight ratio, it doesn't really increase that much as far as your ability to climb hills. It doesn't increase your top speed, so you know, that's why I like the control better. Vertical stabilizer, again, this would get our aim time down to 3.0, so if you combine it with the enhanced gun lane drive, you might get that down to 2.7, so then you might start to see some difference. Refined gun dispersion at 0.34 is not too bad, so really not helping too much here, and you're not going to be shooting from too far away anyway. This one's really a toss-up in my opinion. Probably go with the toolbox. And then consumable delivery system versus high-end consumables. Obviously that depends upon what you're running. Pick the one which you're running the most of. So in my case, I don't run the power boost, and I only run adrenaline, so I'm only getting from, if I were to use the high-end consumable here, I would only get the benefit of adrenaline, whereas if I choose a consumable delivery system, I'm getting the benefit for all of them. So let's take a look real quick to see how this tank compares to the rest of Tier 5. Alright guys, so here's Blitz Stars and their tank compare section, and I've pulled up all of the Tier 5 lights. You can see the M24 Chaffee, the AMX ELC Flying Biscuit I call it, and the VK Leopard, the Leo. I'm sure every one of you have played this tank. Super fun. The Crusader, another great light tank. And then I threw in the M7, which is actually an American medium tank, just so we'd have an extra tank here to talk about. But you can see here with the Chaffee and the 1247 DPM, you know, we're kind of on the low side of all of these tanks. Which is why I think this tank is better suited for a scout role. Try to get as many scout medals as you can in this tank. It's going to really help with your credits that you earn. Your penetration there at 115, like I said, you can get that up to just over 120. Is okay. It's not great. It's not horrible either. So it's kind of right middle of the line there. And you're doing 160 damage per round, which is pretty good. I'm really interested in playing the ELC. I haven't quite got there yet, but very low rate of fire on it, but a high alpha 225. So looking back here at the Chaffee, the reload of 7.7 seconds is not too bad, but just about all of these stats are a little bit lower than its cousin there, the M7, which is the medium. So 76 caliber gun, shell velocity of 975 is pretty good. It's the best in class there, obviously. So no problem shooting from distance with this tank. Aim time at 1.9. You know, I didn't really find it to be too much of a problem. I thought this gun was pretty accurate, especially on the move. So I don't know if that's a stat you should worry about here. 10 degrees of negative gun depression. Obviously, these American tanks are very fun to play on hills, and that's how they, you know, work best. Hold down. Speed of 56. You compare that to the Flying Biscuit there at 65, the Leo at 60. We're just a little bit below them. Even that M7 as a medium's got 60 kilometers per hour. But we do have 440 horsepower. We've got pretty decent terrain resistance at 0.9, which gives us an effective horsepower per ton as 24.9, which you can see is below all of the other light tanks. Moving down, view range 264, and obviously one of the things to note on this tank is hull armor and turret armor 25. It's obviously the worst in the class there, so you got to be very careful playing this tank. Turret armor at 38 is still, for tier 5, it's horrible. No one's going to bounce, so just keep that in mind when you're playing it. Very similar to my last review of the Chinu, which, again, no armor. Play it like you're on your last hit point. If we look here at the win rate over the last 90 days, you know, it's a tank that actually obviously wins fairly frequently. So 836 average damage, even though the stats up above don't show it out, you know, it plays better on average than all of the other light tanks. And I would put that down to just the accuracy of the gun and a good, for the tier, a good penetration. So anyway, survival rate there of 39 is fairly poor. You want to make sure to aim to get that, you know, in the 40s, if not 50, if you can. So Anyway, that's a quick rundown on the M24 Chaffee. Alright, so first game here, Wintermalinovka, top tier. And I want to talk about this game first just because I think it's a really good example of the strengths of this tank. You can see here we're going to go left and flank around. I've got support behind me, and we're quickly up to 56 kilometers per hour. I'm going to edge around the corner here just to make sure no one's there. And when I realize that they're not, we're going to continue to push forward. You can see I stay close to the building just in case. I can use that for cover. And we continue to flank around here. And now we've caught them from behind. And we're going to use this building as cover. So when we reload, we go behind the building. Now we're going to continue to push around. They're obviously moving forward. And you can see back of the KV-1, no problem with AP. Even with angle to the back, not a problem. And they are continuing to push. So you can see here, I do a bad job aiming on that. Straight into the side of a well-angled B1. Not going to penetrate that. S35 has very good penetration, so he's going to win that battle with me all day long. So we're going to just, I'll see if we can't get a shot in there onto the cheek of the KV-1. We do miss that shot, and now he starts to aim at me, so I don't want any piece of that. We're going to back away. I don't have shots on the S35 or the B1, so we're going to go ahead and move in on the KV, get a shot, and back away. And I kind of messed this up here. He gets a shot in on me, and I thought I'd pulled up far enough, but I missed. I know I've got faster reload than he does, so go ahead and take that shot and back up. Don't suggest ever doing anything like that Covenanter just did there, but they're all facing him, so we'll finish off. Now we've got a full health Churchill behind me, so we're going to push up onto these guys here and trade shots with the S35, and the B1 gets me. Now I was thinking here, and this might have been a bad decision, that I should have go ahead and finished off the B1, but I'm trying to go back and help the Leo there. And you can see I'm trying to keep myself in a position where I can get to cover should I need it. He's focused in on that Leo, and the B1 finishes him off. So the Churchill hasn't even done anything, and we're able to reload and finish him off before he can get his turret back around and shoot us. So like I was saying, what I like about this tank here is the mobility and how well you can move along the battlefield and get yourself into good spots for shooting. So right now it's one-on-one. The B1 does about 50 to 60 per round, so I know I've got 2 shots on him, but obviously he's got a much faster reload, so I do have to be a little bit careful. And one of the things I've learned over the time I've played this game is on a one-on-one situation at the end of the game, let your opponent's aggressiveness be their downfall. So I'm going to play this real patiently here. You can see I'm just trying to bait him into a position where I can get a nice shot off on him, and he can't really get a shot on me. And we get a nice shot in the front top there of the turret, and we We hit right on the gun. We miss. But I drop adrenaline and able to get the second shot off before he can get over the hill. So we ended up with 4 kills, almost 2,200 on damage there. And you saw how well we were able to flank and use that to our advantage. Okay, so next game is Oasis Palms. We are bottom tier. Looking at the makeup, we've got mostly all mediums and lights, and the other team has mostly all heavies. So our strength obviously is going to be right in the dunes where we can use our speed. But I have a feeling that they are going to go town because they're mostly all heavy. So I push fairly aggressively, and you can see it's staying close to those rocks just in case. And sure enough, there they are. First shot misses. That was kind of a rush shot there. Now we're just trying to work our way into a position where we can get shots without just sitting completely on top of the hill. Just being patient at this point in time. There's only one spotted. I know the rest are all over there, so no point rushing in and getting yourself into a world of hurt. We can do damage from back here as long as we've got some shots. And sure enough, our flying biscuit there looks like he has sacrificed himself in order to get spots. They've got one sitting in cap. Again, I've got 2 guys sitting over here just probably pumping in shots. But I figure these guys are going to drop off here in a minute. We don't have anyone in there spotting, so I'm trying to get in closer. But take it way wide. Use my speed and get around the map. That's one of the things you want to take advantage of with this tank. And any light, fast tank for that matter. Use your speed and keep yourself on the outside, not in the middle of these fights. So one of the nice things with the T-67, he's got a very slow turret, so it's fairly easy to circle them. So we get 2 kills there. They've got 2 tanks left. Shot on the run, which I find fairly accurate. And then we love a kill like this. Just smash him up against the building. So we end up with 4 kills, bottom tier, 1,300 damage. And we stayed on the outside for the best part of the start of the game, and then when the time called for it, we moved in and we got some more kills and some more damage. So here's another game, Black Goldville, bottom tier. We've got some good heavies, they've got some good heavies. I'll wait and see which way they're going to go, and sure enough, they're going to go into town. So I'm going to push up into the middle and use this as a scout tank and see if we can't get some spots in here. But sure enough, the KV starts coming around. We're going to back up, and you can see the AMX and the VK have been spotted. Now I'm just playing it cautious here because I know that KV is looking at me. And as soon as I see he's gone behind the rock, I can pull forward. Unfortunately, we only track the VK. And he's turning towards me, the KV, and I try a lucky shot there. And so now I've seen that they've got one come in the middle as well. So I'm going to drop adrenaline, and we'll get rid of this guy. And I'm going to use this as my way out of the middle of the map. I'm going to push hard and go around the flank, which again, using this tank speed, mobility, getting to the flank is really the best use for it in my opinion. So we'll come around here. We know this ledge's got some nice bushes in it, and I'm going to look for the weakest tanks, trying to get guns out of the game. And if I can't do that, then I am looking for tanks that have the biggest guns. So the KV-2 there obviously is a bigger threat. But I know he's turned and he's now looking at me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to sit here for a second. And he's now turning away from me so I can pull forward and I can get my shot in without worries of him returning fire. We've dropped off radar and we're not spotted here, so I'm just going to stay here, finish off the KV. And just use this nice accurate gun here to get some more damage in. Now we've been spotted. And he drops off behind the oil tank there, so we are going to just fast forward the game here because the other team, my team, finished this guy off before I can get there. But you can see how I used the maneuverability to, number one, get into position to spot. You see how I get the scout medal here. And then get myself into a position where I can distract the opposition and farm a little damage at the same time. You can see even though we didn't have the highest amount of damage, we did score second highest as far as experience points. And we spotted all 5 of those tanks. Alright, so this game's Wintermalinovka again, and this time we are bottom tier. And I've taken a look at their lineup, and they are mostly all heavies. And our team is called right. I don't really like that from my perspective. I can't really go hull down or side scrape in this tank on the right, so I'm going to push extremely hard through the middle of this map, hoping to get some spots in. And sure enough, there's 2 guys late starting. They are going the direction I thought they would go in, and we get a shot on the first one there, and we get a second shot in there. So now he's going to come at me, and we get a third shot in there and track him, and you can see we've gotten 3 shots in to his none at this point. So now I've got some help starting to come close to me. Unfortunately, that shot bounces. So the Anko now has come to help, and we've got a tank all the way out on the left flanking around hard. Kind of pointless in my opinion what he does here, but anyway, there goes that T-67 right through the heart of the other team. He's not going to last long at all. But we've got a PZ-4, get a lucky bounce there. That was probably from the Ram, I guess. He's turned. We get one off the side of his turret. And you can see here strategy of just hiding behind the building while we're reloading. And amazingly enough, that T-67 is still alive. Unfortunate bounce there. The Ram's got a really fast reload, so he's going to get 2 shots into me. We'll get 1 in, and then we'll back around. You see, shoots into the dirt hill. So he is now down to a 1 shot, so I don't mind losing 70 hit points there to get the kill. And luckily this KV-1S was looking elsewhere. We'll circle around and finish him off. And you know, this kind of just highlights the play style of this tank. It's always on the move. It is a distraction. It is a tank that you want to try to get behind other tanks. It's not a frontline tank by any means. So You can see here with the ARL 44, we hit the front plate there, which was angled, so obviously we bounced that shot. But we're going to try to come in behind him, use our speed, get a shot on. He does a great job here in the ARL, I forgot. Really does turn well for a tank. He gets a shot onto me. I think I got a shot there on the side, but that bounces and I don't get the kill. But anyway, we end up with 2 kills. From a very aggressive point of view, we pushed hard, hoping to get some spots early. You can see we ended up with a level 1 with 1600 damage as bottom tier. So the last game I'm going to show is as top tier on Copperfield. And one of the things I want to point out is if you can find somebody on the other team that's got, you know, a good clan name that you suspect is probably a good player, sticking with them and kind of tag teaming, so to speak, is a great way to go. You'll see here I kind of go out and help this biscuit here in a minute. He's got their red one running away, and so he's now just one-on-one with the Lux. So I'm going to go in and help him out here, save him some hit points. And he gets taken out by our Covenanter. And so everyone else has pushed the high ground on the hill, so we are going to flank as fast as we can, and you'll see our biscuit. He'll overtake me here in a minute, which is one of the things I'm looking forward to with that tank, is having one that's even faster than this. And so now we're coming up to the backside of a KV-1, which is great. I'm going to drop Adrenaline just because we've got so many targets here. Even if the KV-1 gets taken out, I've got shots on other tanks, like you can see here. I'll go ahead and get a shot on their biscuit. Not so much worried about that Hetzer facing away, but since he's now one shot, I'll go ahead and take him out. We'll get that A20 before he drops down. And one of the nice things you can do with this tank against slower tanks with much slower turrets is, you know, you can track them and run around them and get several shots in before they can get a shot in. Game's almost over, so I'm not worried about him getting a shot in. I just want to try to stay perpendicular, make sure that that shot goes in. And you can see it was a very active game. It's a fun play style, if you ask me. We did 1,400 damage there, 2 kills. And that's kind of just how I play this tank, is aggressive. But if you get yourself into a situation where you're outnumbered, use your speed to get out of that situation. You're much better off to your team if you stay alive with 100 to 300 hit points left. You can relocate, get into safety, and still do some damage in the game. But if you try to push too hard into bad situations, you're just going to end up dying. And that's why I pointed out at the beginning, with this tank having a rather low, I think it was 35% survivability rate over the 90-day average, you want to try to get that more to like 50. And that should be one of your goals in this tank. So hopefully you guys learned something from this review. And as always, stay safe out there. This is just a game, so have fun. And remember, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.